than in other sports.
A ring is a team accomplishment.
I know that ain't who I think it is.
That one right there made me the greatest player of all time.
For so many reasons.
I was super ecstatic to win one for Cleveland because of the 52-year drought. Like, I was ecstatic.
A ring is a team accomplishment.
And then after I stopped, I was like, that one right there made you the greatest player of all time.
I don't know why it's discussed so much in our sport and why it's the A-all, B-all.
Mm-hmm. I was like, you did something special.
When it comes to
hey man, I ain't gonna hold you, man. Hold up, real quick. Sidebar. Y'all rock with me for a minute. Y'all rock with me, right? Y'all here with me for the long term, right? So rock with me for a second. We gonna get to the video. Listen, I need a dope ass dentist. Because y'all see these pearly whites? Y'all see that? I want to get a jewel on my teeth, bro, right here. I want to get a jewel right there. I think that shit's kind of dope. And I think that'd be a dope marker for me because I like to smile a lot. So therefore, because I like to smile a lot, get the little jewel on the teeth. So if y'all know a dentist who do that kind of shit, tell them to reach out to your boy. But I just had to throw that out there.
Modern day NBA players, there's no single person more obsessed, self-aware, and love of their own legacy more so than LeBron James. As looking at all of his interviews, it's always me, my, a lot of eyes, talking about his legacy, his greatness, and his standing in NBA history. And look at the Mind the Game podcast, kind of the exact same thing. Alongside Steve Nash, what this podcast is non-stop propaganda, rewriting LeBron's legacy and rewriting the standards of NBA history.
Why is ring culture so much more prevalent in the NBA than in other sports?
I don't know, man. It's just like you sit here and you tell me, you know, Allen Iverson and Charles Barkley and Steve Nash, you know, are fucking wasn't unbelievable. Like, oh, they can't be talked about or discussed with these guys because this guy won one ring or won two rings.
So stopping that right there, LeBron's overall premise that guys like Iverson, Steve Nash, and Barkley aren't appreciated and recognized as great players, that from the jump is inaccurate. Iverson, despite having 0 championships, is beloved by all NBA fans. Someone like Steve Nash, also very popular, and Charles Barkley, an iconic legend. To say fans don't know those guys were great players, top 75 guys, that is completely false.
He's a liar. Man, that's good. All right, so I see what this guy's doing. He's playing it from one angle. Man, across the board, most people, the conversation is never about a Steve Nash. It's never about an Allen Iverson. It's never about anybody else outside the spectrum of Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, and LeBron James. If we're gonna keep it a beam, let's keep it a fucking beam. At the end of the day, that's what the conversation is about. Come in, bro. Yeah, everybody has their respective players because you got everybody to talk about D Rose, Kyrie Irving, Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, the Allen Iverson, the Tracy McGrady's, the Gilbert Arenases, the Ray Allens, the Shaquille O'Neals, the Patrick Ewings, the Scottie Pippens, all of these different players that came up, bro. Ain't nobody talking about them like that. If we're being honest, most of the time when the conversation comes up about a GOAT or the greatest player, the best player, we talking about 3 people: Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, LeBron James. Those are the people that we typically talk about.
Now, with that being said, looking at players' legacy, a Hall of Fame level player, all those guys are great players.
But here's the bigger thing. Hold on, I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep playing, but let me say this too. How the fuck half of these players, half of y'all fans, and what's crazy is probably the ones who aren't even probably aren't even good in basketball anyway, are the main ones who have the biggest shit to say. They have the most shit to say. I personally have said myself, bro, to be honest, if I'm going to be honest across the board, if I'm going to look at this from an objective standpoint, you can't call any one of them the GOAT because they are in different eras. If you try to compare, you can't compare because the game was played different. If you want to be realistic about it, you can't. It's hard. You can't. Yeah, you can have your opinion on who you think the GOAT is, but at the end of the day, it won't even matter because we would never know who the actual GOAT is. Mind you, even though it wasn't in real life, even it wasn't actual during game time, but we do know LeBron James played against Michael Jordan when he was 16. Just saying. And we know the verdict of that situation. But that's neither here nor there.
Based on level of greatness. But to be one of the greatest ones of all time, what that requires is championships, and most likely multiple championships.
No, it does not require championships because it takes a team to win. What are you talking about? It takes a team to win a championship, not one man. Michael Jordan couldn't do it. If Michael Jordan, let me break this shit down for y'all, for those of y'all who don't understand what it means to have a team, a chemistry of people around you. Let me break this shit down for you. Michael Jordan played in the league for 7 years and couldn't get past the first round of the playoffs, big dog. Couldn't get past the first round of the playoffs. Why is that? Why is that? It's because Michael Jordan was just Michael Jordan by himself. Michael Jordan needed a supporting cast around him. He needed a group of solid individuals who are able to play their part and play their part very fucking well, as well as having a great coach around you to coach you the proper way. Because guess what? We all talk about it. The fucking triangle is what helped Jordan out, right? Same as LeBron James. LeBron James went through a fiasco of he couldn't get past a certain fucking hump. I will say this, he went further in the playoffs than Michael Jordan did during that time before he got the supporting cast. Just throwing it out there. But he still couldn't get it done because he didn't have the proper team. He didn't have the proper supporting cast. And it works the same way for every athlete, for Kobe Bryant, for Michael Jordan, for LeBron James, for Shaquille O'Neal, for Dwayne Wade, for anybody who has won a championship ring. Because guess what? When you bring up Bill Russell, nobody talks about Bill Russell. Nobody ever brings up Bill Russell when we talk about the GOAT. Why is that, huh? And he's the one that got 11. But nobody ever brings the conversation up. So therefore, all that shit y'all talking is null and fucking void.
At that. And looking at someone like Charles Barkley, despite being ringless, he understands that because it's common sense.
I'm in the Hall of Fame, but I'm in a different wing than the guys who won the championship. I mean,
Still in the Hall of Fame, though.
I know, yeah, but I'm saying though, Jack. Hey,
Jack,
I understand. I understand the rules. Like Charles are great.
what rule?
Karl Malone's great. Patrick Ewing's great. They're not at the table with Magic, Bird, LeBron, Kobe. It's levels to this shit, and I ain't mad at that. I understand that.
For someone like Barkley right there to be completely honest and open, the championships, they do in fact matter. That takes some big time guts as a ringless superstar who gets ragged for that constantly. And looking at guys like Stockton, Malone, Ewing, those guys also are great players despite being ringless. But like Charles said, when you're ranking tiers of greatness, those guys are the table guys like Magic, Bird, Jordan, the upper echelon, the greats of the greats.
Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.
Oh, so you corporate types are rock stars?
Well, that's as ridiculous as rock stars being corporate.
One of the biggest crimes in sports nowadays is the term ring culture having a negative connotation. As when it comes to quote-unquote ring culture, what that really means is winning culture. For an NBA superstar specifically, winning a championship...
That is not what ring culture means. Are we gonna be genuine? Are we gonna be genuine about this conversation? Are we gonna be genuine about it? Are we going to be genuine about the conversation? Because you say the ring, you're trying to interchange the ring culture, meaning winning culture, right? Yeah, of course, I get that. I'll give you winning culture, right? So why aren't you talking about Bill Russell then? Why isn't this video about Bill Russell? Why are you putting Michael Jordan up? Michael Jordan got 6, Bill Russell got 11. Why aren't you putting that up? No, don't go and tell me it was in a different era now. Don't go and tell me that. He got 11 rings. Nobody has gotten close to that except for Robert Horry. Y'all remember who Robert Horry is? Where do y'all place Robert Horry in the top 75? Do you even have him in your top 75? Because he got 9. That's more than Jordan. You see what I'm saying, right? So do the rings actually matter in the conversation when you talk about GOAT? No, because it's a team sport. It's a team game. It takes a team to win a championship. That's what it takes. This is why it's so hard to have the conversation with people who aren't having a genuine conversation. You're not being genuine in this shit, bro.
Reaching the pinnacle of the mountaintop, that since the 50s is what you played for. You didn't play for stats and numbers, the individual glory. What you played for was a pursuit of winning. Now ask yourself, when did that begin changing? I said late 2000s, early 2010s, when a certain player was coming up short on the big stage. And since then, winning's been downplayed, discredited, and written off as quote-unquote ring culture.
You know, it's all about winning championships and winning. You know, the stats that matter to me is the games that we win and the rings that you collect.
Hold up. Y'all see this video he played, right? I'm glad he played this video. Watch, there's gonna be another video I'm gonna play. Remember this video. Remember this video. Remember this. I need y'all to remember this. All right? Keep it right there in that little folder in your head.
It changed from player to player. Magic Johnson, obviously, because of his notoriety, and Larry Bird, his notoriety, that we had to get past them, or I had to get past them individually before I gained any credibility or could ever get into their ballpark. I had to win championships, I had to win MVPs, I had to make impacts on my team. So that became a challenge for me.
For someone like Michael Jordan, who had all the MVPs, stats, individual accolades, what he cared about most was winning championships. And looking at his overall career arc, it was the embodiment of pursuing titles. As he first came to the NBA, an absolute dynamo on fire, scoring 40, 50 points, breaking all types of records. Over the early 90s, reeled it back in to be a championship player and a winning player. And even looking at Kobe, the exact same thing. 2006's stats, off the charts, surreal, the best stats in the NBA. But to Kobe, those numbers, they are kind of hollow. At that point, it was his big time goal. Not scoring accolades, total points, but winning championships without Shaquille O'Neal. And when it was all said and done, he sacrificed, took a step back, and ultimately did that in 2009 and 2010.
When Shaq leaves, you can't win. Oh shit, yes I can. That became my motivation, that became my passion, and I was obsessed with it, and here we go.
We know what it means as a team, but what about individually for you?
Just got one more to Shaq.
When you contrast guys like Kobe and Jordan, LeBron James, the stark difference becomes very, very apparent.
Hi everyone,
so this
my name is Siddharth, and this is Model Behavior from Box, where we test.
As LeBron nowadays,
I'm gonna pass it. I'm gonna go to the next video because he's really one-sided in this video. He's not looking at it from both ends, but y'all remember what I told y'all. He talked about this. So
Said he would take Kobe over me because 6 was 5, rings is better than 1, and last time he checked 5 is better than 1. But that's his own opinion. At the end of the day, rings doesn't always define someone. If that's the case, then I would sit up here and say I would take Russell over Jordan. I wouldn't take Russell over Jordan. Russell has 11 rings, Jordan has 6. I wouldn't do that. So, but it's your own personal opinion. Rings does not define someone's career. You look at a guy like Jeb Bush who has multiple rings. Charles Barkley doesn't have 1 ring, not better than Charles Barkley. Reggie Miller is one of the greatest of all time. Sometimes it's a situation that you're in, it's a team that you're in, and it's about timing as well. But I don't play the game and try to define who I am over what guys say or how they feel about me. It doesn't matter to me.
The dominance of the game of basketball is LeBron. Championship-wise, Kobe Bryant.
Won 6 championships. Bill Russell won 11. Does that make Bill Russell better than me and make me better than him? No, because we play at different eras.
sorry. So y'all heard it from the horse's mouth. You heard it from not only LeBron James, but you heard it from Mr. Michael Jeffrey Jordan himself. The rings don't define it. Because everybody says the same thing. If you're going to talk about the GOAT and then you want to put rings into the debate, you got to add Bill Russell in because he got 11 of them joints. But y'all don't. So therefore, you're being disingenuous when you're having this conversation about who's the GOAT. And I already said my position in that. You can't say that. You can't sit here and say that Jordan is better than LeBron because they aren't playing in the same era. Now, it was fair when you talk about T-Mac and Kobe because they played in the same era. I can argue that. I can say that T-Mac was better. Before the injuries, I can honestly say, and y'all might ridicule me for this, y'all might come for me. I really don't care. When T-Mac was healthy, when T-Mac was in his prime, his tip top, T-Mac was better than Kobe. 1,000%. 1,000%. T-Mac was busting Kobe's ass. They would go back and forth, but T-Mac would bust his ass. And I would have picked T-Mac over Kobe. 1,000%. I said what I said. I said what I said. Argue with your mama. Argue with your mama, dog. Listen, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for the algorithm and hit that notification bell so that way you won't miss any of my posts that I post every day and the live streams that we have on Tuesday nights and Saturday nights at 9:05 p.m.